Well, hello there, BroncBuster, Tyler here, and we've got Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery. We appreciate him joining us, and of course we got Mrs. BroncBuster, Amy, over here, and we are live out here at the sand dunes of Sand Hollow. Beautiful backdrop. This is for reals. We're out here freezing our butts off, right, Matt?
What's this green screen?
Yeah, right. So, anyways, welcome to our show tonight. We got a fun little show. We're going to start off with some stuff talking about recoveries and what Matt does and what we're doing. But this week we're out here at Sand Hollow for United by Bronco. If you're coming along, hopefully you get to see out here. We're going to have hopefully a couple hundred, maybe 300 Broncos out here. So it's going to be a fun week. Maybe give you a lot of recoveries, right?
Maybe we'll get something. Who knows?
So we just got back from King of the Hammers here a couple of weeks ago. That was a fun time. We had a lot of good meetups and got to meet a lot of you guys there. So yeah, I think we'll just jump right into it here, and we've got some fun stuff to talk about. So Alan from Yankum Ropes, he gave me kind of a couple of questions to ask you because you and Alan are pretty good friends.
Yep, I like Alan.
And you know, one of the things he asked me to ask you is what prompted you to start posting YouTube videos? How did you ever get into that?
There's not a one quick answer for that. Well, I was trying to promote my towing company, Winter Towing, and I was doing it through Facebook, but I noticed really quickly that nobody cared about my rollbacks hauling, you know, a Nissan with a bad alternator. Nobody cares about that. But if I showed a picture of this little Jeep right here hooked up to a diesel truck with a toy hauler in the sun, it would get tons of views and get shared and lots of comments and engagement. So I just get prompts from people in the comments like, you should have filmed this. I want to see the video of this, or they wouldn't believe that it happened or whatever. So that just got me thinking I need to do this. So it was a long process because I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't have anybody to help me. So I had to I went to YouTube and learned how to be a YouTuber.
How to YouTube? Yeah. It's not easy, is it?
I feel like that's how we came into it, just by accident, and just learn as we go.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way everything's going. Nobody watches TV anymore, right? Well, some people do, but for the most part, I think people are going to YouTube, and it's a good way for us to get real creative and content out there, right, to share.
Well, right, yeah, it's really neat because I'm unlike a television show where you've got to go through producers and all this stuff to get to your audience. On YouTube, you're just going straight to them. You're hearing from them in the comments. You're watching what they're reacting to and stuff, and I like that more personal interaction that way. I think that
was one of my biggest, you know, I love some of the reality shows, but they put so much drama into it that is not real. And YouTube, we can actually be real and come out and do real things, right?
Exactly.
So how has that allowed you to be able to express your creativity?
How has my YouTube channel?
Because you clearly have a lot of creativity with some of the stuff you've done.
Well, I enjoy solving puzzles, and off-road recovery is puzzles, but we've also, part of solving that puzzle is building up our equipment so that we can do the jobs that come up, and that's constantly evolving. When I started in this, we'd do a handful of side-by-sides a year, and now we're doing a handful a week. So it's kind of as it evolves, we have to chase that with our techniques and chase it with our equipment. So that's that gets my problem solving, like that bug to solve puzzles, out of the way. But YouTube's also a puzzle. I tell people this. Now stay with me here. You've got regular business, whatever it is. You might be doing plumbing or own an auto repair shop or something, and you've got this clientele. If you do a bad job and tick one of them off, a couple dozen people are going to find out about it, and you can rectify it. Depending on how you handle it will depend on how your name stays out there. On YouTube, if you do something wrong, 1 million people can cancel you overnight, and it's more like working for the mob than working for like having a business. And so it is a problem where I'm like, okay, what keeps people watching? What do they want to see? And how can I bring them in? Because that's my puzzle there, is how can I bring the audience in to where they're hanging out with me and they can get them to care about what we're doing. And one thing for sure is you've got to be genuine. If you're not, they will see right through you and they'll leave.
Well, I remember talking to you back in October here at Trail Hero.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that, you know, like building the wrecker, it'd be a lot easier. You'd be a lot faster getting that thing done if you didn't have to.
If you didn't have
video,
to film
right?
it. Yep. Yeah. Not only the time it takes to film it, but the order that you do things in. You kind of have to. Yeah, I'm going to tip my hand a little bit here. You kind of have to, not kind of, you do have to tell a story. You have to pick it up and then set it back down. And so that if that means putting the cab back on it and pushing it outside and flexing it, then you would never do that if you were really fabricating.
Right.
But that's an interaction I get to have with my audience. So it is real. I'm really interacting, and I really care about that interaction. But you definitely do build.
You put extra steps, and it takes a lot more time when you're videoing everything.
Yes,
right?
for sure.
We found that it's like everything we go to do. Oh,
if you
shoot,
did
we
it,
got to stop. We got to video that.
If you did it the real way, like without even, if you just didn't care about your audience and just filmed exactly how you were fabricating it, nobody would watch it. They really wouldn't. It's not interesting. If you've ever watched somebody fabricate and like put a part up, go and grind on it for a few minutes, put it back up, go and grind on it, watch them do that 100 times on 100 different little parts, you know how long just how boring it is to watch.
Right. Yeah, you got to make it fun too. And so any advice you'd have for, there's guys out there that are wanting to do their own YouTube channel. Any advice you have for them?
Yes, and it's really, really easy. You have to know your audience. Once you know your audience, you can speak to them. And it's just like your friends. Like when you hang out with your friends, you know what your friends are into. You know what they like and what they like to do with you. And if you're a YouTuber, you have to be friends with your audience, and you have to really feel it. And when we go to shows, we don't have to go to shows. I never really thought of it this way, but we were up at an expo in Salt Lake City, and a reporter came up and asked me what my strategy was for promoting my business at the expo. And I said, I'm not promoting my business. I'm giving my audience access to me. So, and I really do that. I really enjoy meeting my audience. I enjoy hearing their stories and what they like. And some of them even come to me with grievances, and I like hearing that and being able to address that. So, so you can't just, they'll see through it. If you pretend to be their friends, they'll see through it.
Yeah. Being genuine goes a long ways. But with that, there's a lot of haters out there too, right?
Oh, that's how you know you're doing good.
That's how you know you're doing good. Everybody, all 1.5 million viewers or subscribers aren't all lovers of what you're doing.
Well, they say that your fans will watch most of your stuff. Your haters will watch all of it.
Well, perfect. So Matt, actually, you just came here from a recovery, right?
I did.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get to see some fun content on that one here coming soon, huh?
Yeah, we had a guy that his truck, he went up in a road with a snowdrift, and it got too deep for him. He went to back off. The road was, and the way the snowdrift was on there, it pushed him to the side of the road. He was done. So 2 wheels hanging off, and he decided to tap out and give us a call.
Well, I was a little worried when you said you had to go do recovery. I could see one of those where you get stuck out there, and we weren't going to get you on today, but glad to have you. And so tell us about how to do a safe recovery. I mean, there's lots of ways to do it, right?
You're asking the wrong guy. I do a lot of recoveries, and I don't always do them the best way, and nobody can, especially if you're filming. I was talking to, I've got friends in the industry, Rory, he's out to Moab. He's got the Trailmator truck. And we were just talking about a job that we did that was a big snow recovery job. We actually had Robbie Layton with us, and a bunch of rigs were stuck, and we had all kinds of problems to solve. And we got deep into the middle of it and started getting out of there. And somebody commented, "Why didn't you take your snow chains and put it on the customer's truck? It looks like they would have fit." Rory calls me. He's like, "Yeah, Matt, why didn't you? Why didn't we do that?" And I'm like, I don't know. We were just solving the problem with our right foot. Lots of RPM. But
putting snow chains on isn't as much fun either, right?
Yeah, but man, we were there at the point. If we would have thought about it, we'd have done it. It was way past dinner time. But that does happen when you get out there. I don't think there's any real way to make sure that every single time you go out there, you do every single thing perfect, and that includes safely. But you've got to know what you're doing. And I know we do stuff on the channel that the average person probably shouldn't try. But we're out here doing this every day. We're doing it in all circumstances. It doesn't matter if it's dark or light or snowing or raining or the wind's blowing. We got to get out here and get it done. And yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question, because I'm not really. I've got a great track record. I feel like we've done thousands, like multiple thousands of recoveries. We've had virtually no damage claims, and we haven't had any injuries. So I feel like what we're doing it in a safe way, and understanding the equipment and what it's capable of and what it's not. Like we were talking about kinetic ropes before this started. Yep. And if you've got something that's suctioned down in the mud, kinetic rope isn't doing a kinetic running start. That's not the right tool for that job. That becomes a winching job, very slow and a suction where you can break the suction. But being able to know when to do which tool to use, which time, that comes with experience. And then there's a lot. Hello. There's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of good resources on the internet for that, and there's other people in the industry that actually have programs and stuff if you're new to it. But yeah, it's not a good idea to think that my channel is a good how-to and then go out and try to do what we're doing.
But it's also having some of the right tools, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Having a good kinetic rope as opposed to just pulling a flat strap out of the back of the truck. And I mean, what can happen if you pull a flat strap out and hook it up to a hitch and go and yank somebody out?
Yeah. So regardless of whether you're using a dynamic rope or a static rope, there is a massive amount of energy involved in this recovery, and you're going to release it all at once like a bomb, or you're going to release it with a kinetic rope over a short or over this comparatively long period of time, where the energy can ramp up nice and slowly and peak and then go back down instead of hitting in one spike. And that's a tool we use all the time. Kinetic ropes. We have a lot of sand here. We have I have to have light vehicles to be on the sand, so often I'm going to come up to rescue something that might be 20,000 pounds, and I'm rolling up at 4,000 pounds or 5,000 pounds if I'm in the Morvair. And winching doesn't work in those situations. Even with a sand anchor, I'd have to have multiple sand anchors to be able to anchor up and winch a vehicle like that. So the kinetic energy, that's one of my most used tools is a yanking rope.
So we both are big fans of the Yankum rope. That's what I use. And they're a great tool. Did you have any pushback from the recovery world as you started using the Yankum rope?
Oh, absolutely, and I still do. I don't spend a lot of time engaging in that in the debate, because a lot of people, it's not even a discussion. They've already made up their mind. I tend to learn new ways. Like when I started filming this, I was using a lot of bow shackles in my recoveries. I don't use a bow shackle at all anymore. And I've evolved because I didn't trust the soft shackles. When you got this big old thick chunk of steel in your hand, this bow shackle, and then somebody hands you a bow shackle and says, this is just as strong, but it's way better. And you're like, yeah, we'll see about that. And that's what Alan did. Alan's like, you need to learn how to use soft shackles and learn about them. And so you can see in my channel that I evolved into using that. I've taken almost all the metal out of my recovery, and we've never had a problem. Like we've never done anything or broke anything where we send a piece of metal flying, but there's plenty of YouTube videos where people send metal flying. And so that's just something I wanted out of there. And we've had a couple of jobs where something is broke. I broke 2 of the synthetic winch lines, and they just fall on the ground. And in the towing industry, I broke a couple of steel cable, and they come after you. They hunt you down.
And they can cut you in too.
Yeah.
To get you right. Yeah.
There's plenty of energy stored in those. And so just learning about these new products and then learning to trust them, finding out like where the delineators are. Like you can use this tool in between these 2 points. Once you're outside of that, you need to come up with a different solution. And just knowing where that is, I think, is a big part of safety. We get one of the pushbacks I get a lot from the off-road safety community is rated recovery point. And really my only question is, where is the rated recovery point on a Prius? Where is it on, a Nissan Sentra or a Dodge Voyager? Like, where these don't have rated recovery points. They're not made to do that. And since we're dealing with mostly, I'd say 80% of my jobs are rental cars or people that have just moved into the area.
Right.
And they're not familiar with it. And so you're going to see every kind of car. Like, people have asked me that too. They're like, are these real? Like, who would drive a Challenger down there? Well, have you not met people? Like,
Right.
And so I've got to figure out how to rescue this car without damaging it, and get it out of the predicament that it's in. And there's no manual. If I take an off-road recovery training course, they don't cover Priuses in there. And that's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, because nobody should be out there in a Prius,
Right, exactly. So that's, I don't even remember what the question was, but I gave you some
just
sort
having
of
the
answer.
no, that's good. So what landed you with Yankum ropes? I mean, you had a lot of choices out there. Why did you go Yankum?
I'll tell you one thing that I have really learned in business is there's a lot of good products out there, and there's competing products that are good. And it comes down to the type of person that I'm doing business with. And I called a couple of other kinetic rope companies. I didn't even know Yankum ropes existed. And the way that I was received and blown off, and just some of the way they were conducting their business was off-putting. And Alan cold called me out of the blue, said, "Hey, I've got these ropes." And he says, "I'm going to be honest with you. This is good. You're going to find other ropes that are the same basic thing. But we're a small business and we want to get bigger and we want to partner up and we want to work." And so I was expecting him to be like, "Hey, I'm going to send you some for free and you give me a review or whatever, like some sort of deal." But he's like, "If you'd like to try them." And I said, "Well, I'll buy some from you." And he's like, "That's what I would rather have you do it. And that way there's no strings attached. You don't feel like you owe me anything." Mm-hmm. So I bought a couple of his ropes. I used them for a couple of weeks. And I talked to him when I called him back on the phone. I said, "Hey, I'm interested," because just the conversation that I'd had with him earlier. And then he says, I am interested in growing the recovery tools that we use. And it was just this, I thought it was a really good opportunity to, like, both of us were pretty small at the time, and we can get better recovery gear, and, I can do my job better with this, and he can grow his business and innovate like he wants to do. And so that's how I landed on Yankum ropes. And it's, the people behind the product. We've had things that we've discussed, things that I want to change, things that he's made for me to try out, and it's really good. I think it's been really growing the innovation of these recovery tools quickly.
So if somebody wanted to buy it, where can they find some of the yellow ropes then?
Well, the yellow ropes, that's my signature rope, and that's offroadrecovery.com. Those have been a really hot seller. So we got them there. And then if you can't find what you want, because we just sell a very limited, like the Matt's recovery kit. If there's more you want, then you can head over to Yankum Ropes, and they'll take care of you. They've got a really wide range from all the way up to big, heavy construction equipment, clear down to your little ATVs.
They really impressed me with the fact that, everything from the fiber, they spin it, they weave it, they dip it, they do everything right in Burley, Idaho, which, I have some friends that are from Burley, Idaho, and I've been there several times. It's a small town. And I love that manufacturing is returning to the United States, and we can kind of offer a quality product at a fair price. There's no such thing as good and cheap, right? You're not going to get good and cheap. But there is such thing as good quality at a fair price. And that is one thing I really like about the Yankum rope. And, it's an investment that you buy cheap and you might hurt someone.
Well, we've
really.
seen it.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it. I'm going to protect the innocent, but not using any names. But we've just it was a Trail Hero, a cheaper, lower quality kinetic rope broke and did $15,000 worth of damage.
Jeez.
No one
Luckily,
was
no
injured.
one's hurt,
No one was
yeah.
hurt. But yeah, the forces involved in doing recovery are massive, and the connection between the energy and the stuck vehicle is this one little rope. Get a good high quality rope. Keep it in good shape.
Well, I know you said you had an appointment you had to get to by 8, so I'm going to just wrap it up with a couple more things. One last question that I had for you was, what experience do you have in recovering Broncos? Because we got a whole lot of Broncos coming out here, and what experience do you have there?
Tie rods.
Tie rods.
When you say Bronco, I hear tie rods. So yeah, we've been welding them back together on the trail or dragging them out to roll back. And then when I met you at Trail Hero, you're like, have you seen this right there? And I said, no, that's interesting. You said that stops you from having to weld them back together. And I guess it protects them. Like
we've never had anybody break a tie rod while using this. I take that back. I have broken a tie rod, but that's been doing just some crazy stuff, experimenting with other things. But when you clamp over the inner and the outer, anything's possible to break. But before, we were breaking them very easy. And later in the show, we're going to show some videos with using some other solutions, what happened. But like you said, we can use these as a recovery tool, because if you have a broken tie rod, it's usually broke right at where the nuts, threads on. You put it in there, clamp it on, put the bolts in, and it's such a tight tolerance that it will allow you to use that as a recovery tool to get it off the trail. So we gave you some of those to try out. But you guys, all you Bronco guys out there, you owe me a big one, because since I gave those to Matt, nobody's broke, right?
Yeah, we haven't had a call. not on a Bronco. Maybe this week.
Maybe this week. We'll see. Hopefully everybody's carrying their Buster braces and are protected. But well, Matt, we sure appreciate you coming out here and taking some time out of your day. I know that you're a busy guy, and it means a lot that you would come and talk with us.
Yeah, sure.
And we hope to see you around and do other stuff with you in the future. So
yeah, let's do this.
All right.
I think there was a comment asking if you were.
Are there any questions? I got a few more minutes if there's any questions.
Okay, well we'll go.
There was one who was asking if you see yourself having to pull BroncBuster out.
All right. So yeah, we'll see about that, huh?
If they call me, we'll be here. Yeah.
Right. Hey, that could be some fun video. I am going to go out and do some playing tomorrow before everybody gets here. So if I get in trouble, I'll call Matt. How's that?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Justin, that you might have seen pop up that we ought to have him answer? My screen's going it's getting dark out.
Dark.
So.
Yeah, it's getting dark.
So yeah, how often do you need to replace your recovery ropes?
So we actually kept track of that for a while. I was getting about 600 cycles before I would retire a rope. The good thing about the double braided nylon ropes, they've got that protective weave around the outside, and when that starts looking tattered, it's time to retire the rope. That is a really good visual indication. They can handle, like we found, no indication that sand has any effect on their life, because ours get dragged through the sand all the time. We've cut them open, and you can shake the sand out on the table, and the ropes were fine. Like there was no problem with that. So we haven't seen anything like that happens. They work when they're wet, which separates them from like a snatch strap.
Yep.
And they work repeatedly. There is a percentage of the stretch that has to come back over a period of time, but you'll get 80% of it back in a couple seconds and hit it again, and maybe you'll only get 75% of it back after that second hit. But you can use them. We have used them 20-30 times in a row. We did a dead pull on a diesel truck just to see what it was like towards the end. like I said, we hit it 20 or 30 times. So I would say just keep them in good shape. Look at them, check them.
They're getting frayed and stuff. So somebody just asked, will Matt buy a Bronco? You see yourself ever buying a Bronco?
I was just talking about that today. Our camera crew needs something that is more of a pre-runner than a crawler, so they can get ahead of us and keep up in the dunes. And we were looking at something that's independent front suspension. So a Bronco definitely came up in that conversation.
I think we should add a Bronco to the team. And then I saw another one here. Let's see. I think it was something about Matt shaving his beard. And I can't find it now. But will Matt ever shave his beard? Somebody asked.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no, but if we do it, it's going to be for charity. We're going to raise some money for somebody who needs it.
Awesome. Oh yeah, there it is. When is Matt shaved? So I guess if we ever, Jer Stubbs, I know him. All right, how's it going, Jer? All right. Well, anything else before Matt leaves us here and we talk about some of our new videos coming out? No? All right. Well, thank you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Hope to see you around. Hopefully not recovering us, but hope to see you around here.
Yeah, we should go wheeling sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to make some noise getting out of here.
Absolutely. Oh, all right. It's getting cold, everybody. So they say you need to buy a Bronco Raptor.
Okay.
All right, so for the second half of the segment, actually I'll wait for him to leave because the banana's a little bit loud, right? Okay, so second half of the segment, we wanted to talk a little bit about steering, tie rods, we led into that with Matt a little for a reason. We've had a lot of discussion with people over time. There's a lot of options out there to reinforce steering. And I feel like we've done the most to go out there, test, and make things that work. Our track record is impeccable as far as, like I said, to this date, not breaking a tie rod with these, and the extent that it gives you. So we have Justin queued up a couple of videos. We're releasing a new video tomorrow that'll go into depth, I guess, all about the steering components. So I'm going to leave some of that for tomorrow, but we thought we'd do a few teasers. Basically, what we decided we'd do is we had never done this. I said, you know what, let me figure out how to strap some GoPros underneath the Bronco, around the steering, and just go out and watch the dynamics of what's going on under there. And while we're doing it, let's try some of these other ideas that have come out there. Like a sleeve that just covers a portion of the inner tie rod. And for my own curiosity, I wanted to say, well, I think I know what it's going to do, but what will it actually do? So that's what Amy and I and Doug went out and did, and it was fun. And so, Justin, go ahead. Actually, you know what? I think, here we go. So here's one of the videos you'll see as I'm coming up. This is the first obstacle. It's called, what's it called? It's at Marble Falls, at Hidden Falls. It's, gosh.
Oh, man.
I just drew a blank, spaced it. But right about, so I get held up right here, and I back up a little bit. Now, keep in mind, at the point we brake, you don't really see that it's broke. We only knew that it was broke at this point, right there, bam, that's where it broke. And I didn't know it was broke until we pulled the GoPro footage later. And so as I start coming up around this corner, getting ready to do the final last crawl, I'm thinking, all right, we're good to go. But if you look in there, that tie rod's all over the place on the passenger side. And I go to try and start climbing that, not knowing, and Amy's filming, she wasn't looking at the tie rod, but all of a sudden I go and you'll see it just goes right about right here. We get that famous toe in, and I have Amy up there right there. So Amy's up at the top. She's going like this. And stop. I'm like, okay, I knew exactly what happened. So we get out, we looked, and sure enough, right beyond that piece, it just went, try and get it in line here. Sorry, guys. just U-shaped. So that answered that question. Now we decided, all right, well, let's go ahead and I had more tie rods because I knew we were probably going to break. So we put a tie rod on, and I go ahead and put the Buster brace on, and we continue. So I make it up that obstacle, and we go up a few more, and we get almost to the top of Catback Mountain. Wildcat Mountain. Yeah, we get almost to the top. And
now we've got an audience.
Yeah, now there's like 20 people there. They're filming, they're watching. They're like, that's just crazy. That's fun, because I'll be honest with you. I wasn't being easy on the Bronco. I wasn't sitting there. Normally you want to go out with confidence you're not going to break, but every once in a while I want to see what happens. And so I'd made it up a few obstacles now with the Buster brace on one side, and with that other sleeve on the other side. And surprisingly, it held up over a couple of those obstacles. I get all the way to the top, and Justin, go ahead and show that one. So you can see the brace on the left-hand side, and I got some hopping going on. We kept getting hung up on my rear diff, and so I finally just said, yeah, and don't worry about my headlight. I know my headlight's out. Everybody tells me, hey, your headlight's out, and I just haven't had time. So
it's just winking.
It's winking at you. So bam, right there. So I hit it, and of course, so I hit both sides equally, but that gave the best indication of I wanted to see, all right, are we going to fail a tie rod, and is it going to fail on both sides, or which side is it going to fail on? I knew the answer. I mean, we've gone out on so many trails and done so many things and never broke the Buster brace. But anyways, the video that we're going to be showing tomorrow goes into more detail than that, because we're also going to talk about the bushing and the housing. The biggest thing I want everybody to understand is don't just go out and reinforce your tie rod, because the tie rod right now is a fusible link. Most important, so at the video we're going to talk about, okay, what's the most important thing to do, when to do it, why to do it, and then the second most important thing and the third most important thing. So thought it'd be kind of a fun, yeah, go ahead.
No, so Justin brought up 74 Weld has been using our name in a negative way, and then lifted Bronco. Tyler doesn't stoop that low. Tyler's name is good in all our books.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So we appreciate the support. Okay, so guys, listen, there is another solution out there, 74 Weld, and I'm not ever going to talk about it. I think they make amazing products. I think that their portals are amazing. I think that their billet aluminum rack, it looks amazing, and there's a few issues, and I've talked to Quinn over there at 74 Weld and let him know that there are some issues with our patent on what we've done, and hopefully we'll work together. That's the whole idea. I'm not one to just go out and try and cause problems, but the reality is beyond reinforcing both ends, and that's one of the things I wanted to touch on. When you reinforce both ends, we've not seen a failure. We have 100% success rate. Everything in the middle that they're doing billet, I think it'll look great. I think there's going to be a market for some people that want to spend that $5,000-$6,000, but everything else, the internals and how the problem is solved, is identical. It's not like you're getting this rack that's any more capable. And so, I'm not going to talk bad about 74 Weld, because I do think that what they've done for portals and what they've done for the off-road community is amazing. And I hope that the two of us can actually work together is my goal. So, but thank you guys for bringing that up.
And your support. Thank you.
And thank you for your support. Oh, all right. It's getting hard to see all of this because it is getting dark. Let me turn my light up a little bit. There we go. With the Radflow coilover. Okay, so Bird Dog Overland. Yes, they are 100% compatible. That's what I run on all my Broncos. We sell the Radflows. That is not a problem at all. We've actually shortened the profile of the back to work with all coilovers. The only one that we still had a problem with was the Icon. But Icon, even they put in their kit that they ship out on all of them, a part that actually offsets it to where it's not an issue with those either. So yes, they will work. Let's see. Oh, anything else that I'm missing? Because I want to, let's see. Yes, Walter's got a good point. That'll be, I I think we're going to put some of that in our video too. Even $1,000 tie rod breaks, and breaks on easier stuff than what we've seen the stock tie rod break with the Buster brace. So keep in mind that just because you're spending more money doesn't always make it better. And so one of the things I want to show in this video is there's your good, your better, and your best. And so is this a good solution? Yeah, I think for guys that aren't going to really go out and do a lot, just want to do some casual wheeling, putting that on will offer protection. No doubt about it. Maybe if I was to put a percentage on it, I'd say you could take the stock tie rod 15 to 20% beyond what it normally would have done otherwise. And so for some people, that's good. We've actually talked about making some of those ourselves and selling them because that is a solution for some. The better solution, the best solution is, as of right now, the stock tie rod with the Buster brace. Now, we'll have some other stuff that we're working on, and hopefully we can bring some other tie rod options to you guys in the future too. Can I run your rack products with the Icon tie rods? 100%. So in fact, I highly recommend it. If you're going to go and put a Heim joint or any type of a reinforced stronger tie rod, you're going to push that somewhere else. And so you need to reinforce the rack. So 100%, I would, before doing anything running bigger tie rods, I would do that on your steering rack for sure. Yes, they will work. They should not have any clearance. The only reason why we shortened the back is to work with the Icon, which we still encountered some issues, but yes, they will work with the old ones. Let's see. The only issue Tyler has caused has got me hooked on the billet products. Well, thank you, Matt.
They are nice and shiny.
We try. We tried. We got our buddy Austin that has done a fantastic job in helping us to produce quality products there at Bracken Machine. So, yes, Fabian, I agree. I think and the track record, stands for its own. And we stood by all the time that if somebody breaks a tie rod while they're running our Buster brace and they want a refund, I'll give you a refund. Send me back the parts and you got your money back. But nobody's ever taken me up on that. I made that offer over a year ago and that hasn't happened to date. So I don't think it's going to. Let's see. Well, anyways, we're kind of, the bumper gap fillers. Yes, they are in production. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about here, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of resources to develop solutions for the bumper gap filler. So between, the issue is that when you do a body lift, the body lift is a great solution to give you that additional height to get the bigger tires, to clear those tires without doing a lot of change of geometry. In my opinion, it's probably the only way to truly run 40s, because if you do it all in suspension, you're putting a lot of stress on things. I mean, yeah, you can drop your, you can do your diff drop, which we've done on my wife's, and I want to go back because I've just not liked it at all. We experimented with it. That's what we're doing, is experimenting. But with the gap filler, we're able to do a light bar that looks nice. And that is live now on the website. So we're going to be putting a little email blast out here pretty soon, but a couple of weeks and we'll have those out.
So there was
the JKS Style Brace. Yeah, so we covered it, in fact, in the video, so you'll go back and watch it. But the JKS Style Brace is this, and that's a broken tie rod. I mean, in the video, you'll see that we barely got into the obstacle, not a whole lot on it, and it broke. We had GoPros mounted to it, and went out and experimented with it. So yes, that is here. Yeah, he queued it up again. We'll show you here real quick what it looks like. What's that?
Did you cover this one from Bird Dog? I have the original early ones.
Yeah, I covered that. So as you can see, it didn't take a whole lot. I wasn't sitting there railing on the front end or bouncing or anything. And it just, bam, it went. So again, it is a great solution. We're not saying that there won't be a better solution down the road. You're still limited to the rest of it is thin, but for the most part, when you reinforce that, you've taken away most all chances of that breaking. And then we got Cameron. Cameron has said that she's Amy's biggest fan. I don't know. I think I'm Amy's biggest fan. She has to follow me all over the country and put up with me.
I love Cameron.
But thank you, Cameron. Yes, we love Amy and appreciate. I had a hard time in the past getting her to come on with me because she doesn't love being on the camera, but I talked her into it tonight, so I appreciate her doing that. Even out here freezing our butts off. So when we set up, the sun was shining, the wind wasn't blowing, and it was quite warm. Then the clouds came out, the wind started blowing. We had to take our tent down because the tent almost blew away, and so we kind of had to revamp real quick before Matt showed up. But I don't know. We thought it'd be fun to test out doing a live stream out on the sand dunes in Sand Hollow using our satellite, and it worked out great. So how long till we see some pivot plate skids? Walter, I don't know. I'm working on it. We're yeah.
So many ideas.
So many ideas. I get ideas all the time, and it just takes money to do every one of them. My biggest I guess holdback is that we're a small business, and every new part we develop costs money, right? And so, Amy and I have invested everything we've got into making this go, and so every new product we develop, we want it to be a success. But it might be a long time before we, see the success of it. But our goal is that we continue doing that. So, I mean, we love your ideas. Walter, you've always got good ideas, bounce them off all the time. We are going to continue to work on them. When I get home from United by Bronco, Amy and I are going to be back down in Texas, at Texas Fabco, and working on some new stuff. We're going to be finishing up. Our big focus when we get back is working with Armadillo Design on the hardtop. We really want to see how that goes. We want to integrate a few things, some attachments and some stuff to go in it. We've got some great overlanding ideas. Summer's coming up, and Amy and I want to do some overlanding trips. We're going to go do the Rubicon, and we want to implement some of that. So a lot of ideas, a lot of things coming up, and we'll continue to try and do the best we can. How's that? So with that, I think it's time to call it, because we're freezing our butts off. But we appreciate you guys jumping on with us tonight. Hope you enjoyed having Matt and our other special guest, Amy. It's been fun, and I think we're going to go pick everything up and go get some dinner. So
some hot chocolate. It's cold.
Go get some hot chocolate, yeah. But hopefully we're going to see you guys out here at United by Bronco. It's a great event. If we don't see you this year, definitely hope to see you next year, because out of all the off-road events we go to every year, this one is by far our favorite. We love Sand Hollow. Jesse and Mariah with Helibad Broncos, they put on a great event with United by Bronco, and it's worth being here for. So we'll talk to you next time. We're look forward to next week and bringing you some new fun stuff when we're back in Texas. So until then, you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.